We are back. Okay. In 1962, October, I think October the 1st, I took over The Tonight Show from the gentleman who was about to come out here, who did The Tonight Show from 1957 to 62. And when Jack Paar was on television, he was without a doubt one of the most colorful, most influential, and certainly one of the more controversial people. He was fascinating to watch Jack Paar. And he's got a special coming up for NBC on November the 29th, which is kind of a retrospective of a lot of those years, called Jack Paar Comes Home. Would you welcome, please, Mr. Jack Paar.
Thank you. Dr. Livingston, I presume. How nice you all were to me. Thank you very much.
Jack, you don't think this is going to be overexposure for you, do you? I mean, once every 24 years showing up like this night
I'm like
after
Haley's
night.
Comet. Every 100 years I come back with something like this. You know, you have no idea, though, honestly. I'm a very sentimental person, as you know.
Oh, yes.
Yes. But you have no idea how humble that makes a great star like me feel.
You've never lost that sense of being, have you?
No, Johnny, I haven't.
You know, we should lay a couple of things to rest before we start doing whatever we're going to do tonight.
Yeah.
People always say to me, you said, you and Jack Paar must really have, be very close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, Jack and I are not what you'd call close friends. We don't have cookovers or sleepovers at each other's house. I think the longest conversation we've had is maybe 5 or 10 minutes, some years ago when we first met, and right after I took over the show, and that's about it.
And then on CBS, you replaced me then on CBS. We did a 3-hour show, can you imagine? From 7 until 9 in the morning. It went as far as Chicago. There wasn't even a full network. And then we had to do an hour repeat from 9 to 10 for the West Coast.
Right.
A 3-hour show, ad-libbed. It was about the most difficult thing ever.
You did it. We did it out of Grand Central Station, and the reporters, they called them at that time, were
what do they call them now?
Commentators now. Yeah,
Oh,
they reported the news. Charlie Collingwood and Walter Cronkite.
You know, I'll tell you a story that's true. I replaced Walter Cronkite. My child had just been born. I had come from Hollywood, and I was broke, living in a little dinky apartment in the basement. And I had a beautiful home in Cheviot Hills here. And I said to myself, what did I do to deserve? Here I'm in this apartment. And I'd look out the window of our apartment, and all I would see people's feet. And then I thought, what have I done to deserve this? So finally, they called me, and they said, we want you to do the morning show. You're to replace Walter Cronkite. So I called my mother, and I said, Mom, don't worry. Things are going to be swell. I'm going to be on the morning show on CBS at very big money. I tell you, I went from nothing to a lot of money to any of us. And my mother says, I hope you're not going to replace Walter Cronkite. And I said, yes, I am. I'm going to replace Walter Cronkite, and I'm damn sorry, Mom, but I am. Well, now, 2 weeks went by, and I do it. Now, Walter is our friend and a dear, wonderful man. But Walter has a weird side. He loved doing that show because he worked with puppets. Now, can you imagine Walter Cronkite with lions and those things? So CBS had a bulletin board. I'm sorry I go so long. I'll make it short. Go ahead. It had a big bulletin board, and as I come up every morning from doing this 3-hour killer of a show, they kept track of the mail, and it would say Cronkite and Paar. Now, I said, what is that supposed to be? And they said, well, we're to keep track of the mail. Those who say they like Jack Paar, it's a big improvement. Who are you?
This is Doc Severinsen.
I'm a friend of Jose Mellis.
I didn't even know him. What happened to Sketch Henderson?
You don't stay up late, do you, Jack?
No. So anyhow, they had this bulletin board, see, Paar, Cronkite. And I said, well, what does it say? And they said, well, if they say the show was better before, then it won for Cronkite. Well, I said, I object to that because it's very bad for the morale of the staff. I mean, you've made your decision. You've already replaced Cronkite. I'm there. Why do this? It's insult to the secretaries and all. And the secretary says, well, we have this problem. What problem do you have? She said, it says, we miss Walter Cronkite. I said, well, put it for Walter Cronkite. She says, the note is from your mother. Honest to God.
Your mother didn't give up.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking tonight.
Yeah.
The last time I was on a show like this where I was to answer questions, but I'll end up asking and answering them, and you won't have to worry.
Why is it that I feel...
You've been hit for 25 years.
Why
this
is
is
it
my big chance.
Why do I feel I'm guesting on your show?
I don't know. Everyone does.
All right, let me start off with one question. You did the show...
Let me face the other.
Sure.
You know,
You've been saving a lot of stuff up, haven't you, Jack?
Like it. Well, the last time I was on a show like this, it was on Merv's show.
Yeah.
And I am, as you know, very nervous. And when I'm nervous, what I do is I pace back and forth, and I worry. What am I going to say? And I went to the washstand, and I began to wash my hands, just out of nervousness. Just wash. And splashed water all over here. Now, there's 2 minutes to go. Theme. Nothing to change into. I have no choice. Now, you picture a star backstage ready to go on. Cary Grant, you know, me. I want to be Cary Grant. Well, you know what happened? Nothing to change into. 2 gay hairdressers got on their knees with dryers. I made my entrance.
And to this day, you're sticking to that story, huh? Okay, Jack. Who am I? I'll buy it, Jack. If the audience buys that, I'll buy it. Why'd you give up the Tonight Show? You were a dynamite hit. You could have stayed on. You could have been sitting here today. I think you said at the time, and I quoted you on this.
Well.
I said, I think Jack Paar said he got the feeling. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you will. I believe I've said everything that I've had to say in my life twice.
Yes.
Something close to that.
Yes, and then I'm going to say it for the third time. Yes. No, I just, well, you needed the work.
You've helped support a goodly number of people, Jack, yes.
And we're both Presbyterians, and we have to stick together.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's why I did. No, I had enough.
Yeah.
I had enough. You know, I didn't make any money on that show. Yeah. You have taught us all a great deal. Do you know that I will make more money? Now, see, money is not a big thing in my life. It's not a little thing, but it's not a big thing in my life. But I'll make more money on the hour show, 1 hour show, than I made a year on the Tonight Show.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's good sized money.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, it's about time. No.
But if you'd have stayed here, you'd be doing it too.
No, Johnny, I never could do what you do.
No, yes.
Nobody will ever equal what you have done on this show. To follow. Nobody.
Longevity. We'll take a break. We're coming right back. We're back. Talking with Jack Paar. Did you look forward to this tonight?
Oh, yes.
Honestly.
I looked forward to it because, you see, your directors, it's from my old show.
Bobby Quinn, right.
Quinn, and Donnie Schiff, who does the...
We're around the
whatever it is he does, he's still doing it. And I have a story when I see Fred here. What a handsome man
Isn't he, though?
is, yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Which camera's on? Aren't you using red lights anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, there. Oh, okay. Well, we used to use candles when I was in the business. But anyhow, when I am nervous, which is practically all the time, but only when I'm in front of an audience do I stutter and stammer. You know, I was an announcer when I was 16.
I know that.
You know that I was announcing the Cleveland Symphony when I was 20 on CBS, Arturo Oginski. They used to write it out phonetically because what do I know about Italian phrases? But I had the best voice in Cleveland, and I could read, but when I talk, I stutter. Never mind. Okay, now, next.
Who has
From
the
this
best
show-
voice in Cleveland now?
Huh?
Who has the best voice in Cleveland now?
I think Wayne Mack.
Okay.
Okay. So anyhow, when I'm nervous, I say very dumb things. part of this special that is on the 19th, we had to cut 3 minutes out, and unfortunately, this was what happened. I, some years ago, on my nights off, just escaped from New York, wanting to get away, and I went to Cuba to be in on the revolution. And I went by myself without a writer, producer, director. I went down there, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to see a revolution? So there's nobody there. There are no Americans there. I mean, hardly any press was in on that Cuban Revolution, and the hotels are empty. There was just, honest to God, George Raft and me. Can you imagine? He was down, I don't know what he was down to gambling.
He's running a club, I think, at that time.
Yeah, I think he was running a club. Yeah. So anyhow, they said to me, if you stay here and you play your cards right, you'll be the first to talk to Dr. Castro, Fidel Castro. They put me in the Hilton Hotel on the 24th floor. Nobody's in the hotel. Beautiful new hotel. Gorgeous, 7 rooms. Castro took on the 25th floor as his headquarters. Now, all day and all night, because they have terrazzo floors, no carpeting, I'd hear this marching. But I was promised to be the first with Castro. Well, that was fun, you know. That was fun until finally it dawned on me, what'll I do if he comes? I don't have a cameraman, I don't have lights, and I don't know what to say to him. Well, at 2 o'clock one morning, a call came and said, Dr. Castro's coming down to see you. Well, then I'm panicky because we've had all this foreplay, but now we're going to really have to come through with something. I ran, got a cameraman, got lights, and now I'm scared to death. 9 guys walked in a room. I swear to God this is all true. And walked in a room, and Castro came in, and I opened the door. And in my nervousness, I said, you're a good neighbor, you don't make too much noise. And then I said, I hope you didn't come down to borrow sugar. Now, people don't believe that, but the film exists, and unfortunately, it's not in the show. Now, I'll tell you, one thing, then I'll go.
Oh, that's all right.
No, you have a great time, but I can't stay on forever, you know. Listen, one time, Oscar Levant was a friend of mine. You know him very well?
Yes.
He was a very difficult guy, but he was
Extremely.
a dear fellow.
Hypochondriac.
Yeah. One time, he said, I want you to meet James Mason. He wanted to introduce me to all the Hollywood people. I was just out of the Army, and so I went with Oscar up to James Mason's home. He wanted me to meet James Mason. And I was all nervous about meeting Mason, being in this big mansion. And when I got there, there was Mason watching 3 television sets on a mantle, and they were all faith healers, a different one. It was a Sunday, ministers, and he'd switch from one to the other. And so Oscar said, this is Jack Paar, and Mason says, hello. Well, that didn't put me very much at ease. Now, Fred de Cordova, he was there. Do you remember it, Fred?
Yes, I do.
And Pamela Mason was then very young and very sexy, and she was rubbing herself with Nivea cream. I don't know why I remember these details, but she's rubbing herself with Nivea cream, and Freddie's watching her, and I'm watching her, and Mason's watching his evangelist. Now, I don't know what to say. I'm uncomfortable in this home. So I look at the ceiling. And finally, in the corner of the ceiling, my eyes come down, and there is a little old lady in a rocking chair like Whistler's mother. And it scared me, and I said, who's that? And Mason says, well, that's my mother. And I said, do you like her? And he said, no, not really.
Just something
that's
to say.
My de Cordova story.
Let me ask you, all the people you had controversy with.
Controversy? Yeah, I did have.
When you were on television.
Yeah, I did have a lot of trouble, didn't I?
Yeah, you were always simply, watching you, what was fascinating about watching you, it was like watching a train that was almost ready to be derailed. And you were sat there waiting for you either to be joyous or petulant, or whether you were going to cry or you're going to get angry. I got the feeling.
I had my tear ducts removed, you know.
Yeah, did you really?
Yes.
Surgically.
I don't cry much anymore.
But you had your emotions right out here, and I got the feeling that gave you some kind of stimulation to work. Is that true? The idea that you had those little crises going with people.
I
that
suppose.
It made you think.
I suppose it kept me awake, you know.
Yeah.
It kept, yeah. Well, those people asked for it, you know. Wintrow, he was a very, very...
And they're all gone now.
If they've gone, well, they didn't play their cards right.
Yeah.
Did they? They had their chance. You know what I want on my tombstone? They asked me the other day. The press likes me all of a sudden again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said, what do you want in your tombstone? And I said, I think I want one of two things. Either it says, keep the line moving,
Yeah.
or it should say, you had your chance, now he's gone. Yeah, I always felt that I should have.
Are you a forgiving person?
Oh,
Do you carry a
I'm the
grudge?
softest.
Really?
Yeah. I scream
you
and
have a
yell and
little-
carry on because I'm always so scared. I've never gone on a stage yet where I wasn't frightened to death.
What do you think's going to happen? Is it the fact that you think people aren't going to like you?
Aren't going to like me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I'm a complex person,
Yeah.
I guess.
I get the feeling.
But not the people who know me.
Yeah.
No, I'm very, very lovable. You want me to tell you about my grandson and then I'll go, or don't you want me to?
You don't have to go. Let's
Well,
talk
no,
about your
no,
grandson.
they got some young kids backstage.
Would
and
you
I
do
don't-
one thing before you do that?
Can I
Would you show him your suspenders? This intrigued me. I hadn't seen you for a long time, and I walked in, and you were wearing these.
What
and I
things?
thought, well, I thought maybe you were going directly from here to Hee-Haw or something, and I just were dressing for the occasion.
No.
We're going to come back. We got a couple of charming pictures about you and your grandson, and we got a little clip. We'll see here. We are back. Want to show this picture? Let me show this picture. It'll be on the monitor. This is one of the reasons you're doing the special, right?
Yeah, this is the reason I did the special. I had no reason to come back into show business, but I began to buy up films. They
In the
found some
bathtub with your- there it
they
is.
found up some kinescopes of mine, and I began to edit them for my grandson. I wanted to leave a legacy of what Grandpa did.
You're
And-
on the monitor now.
Where?
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Well, see, I feel like we have a jacuzzi built in the floor, and and every weekend he comes and stays with me, and we bounce around in there. And I thought that was kind of a. Show, there's another one too, please.
Want to show this one?
Well, the same thing. No,
this
that's
one here, or this one? Which one?
Well, either one.
Okay, how about that one?
Oh, that's a good picture of that's his age now. Isn't he adorable? Let me tell you about him. He's a marvelous little kid, and when I have him in the jacuzzi, see, it's built into the floor. You understand down, and then I have to take him out and I dry him, and I'm in. Oh, God, I can't bend anymore. You know. I lift him out, see, at the floor level to diaper him. Well, I had to learn to do that because originally I tried to take the diaper off over his head, and that is not the way you do it. So I have him down, and I give him the talcum powder, and I'm about to diaper him, and he peed right in my eye. It's a good thing I wasn't talking at the time, now this poor little kid, he doesn't talk much. Doesn't talk practically at all. And the first words that my grandson Andy said, the first words, year and a half or more, he doesn't say none of that, none of that stuff. He was in his little diapers and he was walking, you know, and he wet his pants. And he looked at me and his first words were, oh dear, oh dear.
You realize if you'd have told that story
I couldn't have
when
told
you were
him.
on television.
That's right.
The NBC censors would have cut it then, and you'd have gone off to China again.
Yes, you couldn't tell that story. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the best stories you've heard. Now, that's quite a promise, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. It's about a man that worked for you and worked for Bobby Quinn and worked for the... I'm not going to mention his name because his son may resent the story because he's now 22 maybe. At that time, he was 3, and we were all concerned. The man's name was Johnny. The kid's name was Kier, K-I-E-R. And they were concerned because he never spoke. No mama, no daddy, no nothing. And they thought he might be mute or deaf, and it was quite a serious problem. We all would hear about this. They took him to doctors. Nothing is physically wrong with him. He just had nothing to say. He didn't want to talk. He'd sit in front of the television and watch it all day, and occasionally he would murmur some word from the television. That's all. Sunday came, and John, our friend, took his, stayed home with Kier, and the mother took the daughter, and they went to church. And John said to Kier, Kier, you're going to stop this bit. You're going to talk. You are going to talk. Now, picture. That's Mama. You say that, Kier. Say it, Kier.
Mom.
Sister. Sister, Kier.
Sister.
And who am I, Kier?
Daddy.
Well, John said, a miracle. Wait till they come home. They came home from church, and he said, darling, come in the room here. You can't believe what's happened. Here. Who is this? Mama? Who is that? Sister? Who am I? Daddy? And Kier, who are you? And the kid said, my name is Harry Reasoner.
I'm going to go. That's a wonderful story.
I'm going to go.
That's a wonderful story. Hey, I can't tell you, it was great having you here. I mean that.
It was, Johnny, it was so nice of you to ask me. And I hope you'll get to see my special, because it's one of the better things I've ever done.
You want to stick around while the other people come out, or do you want to run?
Oh, well, I talk too much.
No, you don't. Thank you, Jack.
Goodbye. Thank you.
That was fun. That was fascinating. That's the longest conversation I've had with Jack Paar in 32 years was right here. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.